I projected worst case scenario for 3.5 years. Let's see how it went.
Yep. Come on.
Three and a half years of basically that, and like that falling out of the frame is so funny. Just
Yep.
excellent camera work.
Better.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this in a little bit, but I did that by accident essentially. Didn't understand what was going on, as evidenced by the next couple of years of me not sticking this move.
Caleb.
Yep.
Come on.
Yep, there it is. Bump it, bump it, bump it.
So desperate.
Come on. Find your feet. Let's go. Ugh.
The sound of disgust in her voice is so funny there. It's my girlfriend Emily. There she is. Just missed the hold. There's a good lesson here about maybe not necessarily why you shouldn't bump to readjust, but why it can be detrimental. That right hand right here, I go to bump thinking it'll get me more secure. Here we go, and then oh shit, I just fall. Alright, so this clip is from the session where I did it. And I fuck up the bottom sequence here. I just like don't remember my beta essentially. Like I've never done the sequence that way. Stick in the move. That was the first time I stuck it that sesh, and then I stuck it the next few times in a row. So something happened between this session and all the ones prior that allowed me to do it. And I'll give you a hint. It wasn't about strength. So supportive. I don't know how loud it is, but she goes, that was a really good burn. She's been there a lot to guide me through my grumpiness and my bad days. And this is, I think, the first time I ever stuck it to essentially the jug hold. You have two options here to like hit this little crimp or to go a little bit further and hit the jug. As I fell off that last one and like couldn't bring my feet over, I was like, what if I just try going for the jug? So that's what I did. Yeah, and there was something there about how I thought the crimp was closer and worse, but I thought that I could... I didn't think I could hit the jug. Like, I thought it was just too far. And I think that came down to a lack of understanding of how to actually do the move. So close. And then the next go, I get it, but that footy comes later. So here we have, I don't know how far apart these different attempts are, but I just thought it would be interesting to look at the speed in which I do the climb. I think this, I don't remember, but I think this is one on the right is the Sengo, and I do it the fastest. This is in the middle. I do it slightly faster, and this is, I think, the furthest back, and it's very slow, like by 10 seconds, but let's just have a look. And then I stop it when I hit this
Breathe,
move.
dude. Breathe.
So I don't stick it in either of these other two, but just for the demonstration of how quickly or not that I did it. 27 seconds versus 30 seconds versus 37 seconds. And just imagine how much fresher you can feel if you've saved 10 seconds on the climb. It's certainly, I don't think it was a factor that like allowed me to send. I think by the point that I actually did the boulder, I was like much stronger than it. But there's still something to be said about time savings and the reduction of fatigue accumulation. And then here's just like me doing the move from 4 different clips, and just want to see if you can notice what happens. So those middle 2 I fail, and this is the one I think from earlier where I stuck it by accident, and again I think this is from the Sengo. We'll jog it back here a little bit, but look at the hips on the far left and the far right. Do it one more time. So there's something going on here, which is essentially just hip engagement that's not happening here, and you can see by how much my hip sags as I try to like latch the move. This next clip, I think I've stacked them so you can see it a little bit better. Yeah. Or no, sorry, side by side. So just look at the hip on this left side. Just sags so much, and I'm having to, oh, spoilers. It sags so much, and I'm having to make up for that by like applying strength through my arms and shoulder because I'm not like keeping body tension. And then this is where I stack it. So it's not perfectly aligned. The angles are slightly different, so probably the distances are slightly different and the angle with which my hips sag. But you can see, let's see, what the teal is the shorts I'm wearing, and I'm wearing long pants in the before. And they come up pretty close. Like they're not doing that much different. And then as soon as I latch it, there's definitely a sag in the most recent go, the Sengo, but I'm not having to correct my lack of hip engagement nearly as much by trying to maintain the tension just in my arm. And I think that is essentially the lesson that took me 3.5 years to learn. I think this boulder could have gone a couple of years ago, but I wasn't understanding the subjective feeling input nor aligning the objective footage that I should have been using to look at and analyze. One, I didn't really know how to do that at the time, and 2, that wasn't my intent for recording. I essentially recorded because I wanted to make sure I recorded the send. And it seems so obvious that like, yeah, of course you want to get footy so that you can analyze it, but having the mental shift of like, because I would never watch footy after I recorded it from my attempts. I might look at it a bunch after the fact, but it for some reason it was difficult for me to realize like you should basically look at footy as soon as you fall, because there is where you want to make the correction of like subjectivity and objectivity as close as you can to the experience, because then you can encourage recalling the incorrect thing or embedding a fuzzy image in your mind of what happened versus what actually happened. And then when I finally, like I said, during this session where I sent it, I did not drop hitting this big move. And forever, that was the crux in my mind. And even that super early go where I hit it on the crimp and then fall, that was still, not that that was still, I mentioned this in my kilter video on Dame, but it gave me a false sense of confidence of how close I really was. And you know, as I think about it, maybe it wasn't a false sense of confidence because I actually really was close. I just wasn't able to focus on or understand how my hips played a role in sticking this move. So then I got really worried because I was sticking this move and I fell, I think, 2 times before the send where I couldn't bring my feet down here. And once your feet are on this big ledge over here, it's over. Like you should definitely send it if you get to that position. And there's something subtle that allows me on the right side to successfully accomplish the move that the left doesn't. We'll start from here again. So it doesn't look that different. But the main thing is that on the left side, I cut both feet pretty early, and it makes me have to try to deal with the momentum that my hips gain from bringing my feet down here, and it was just a little bit too difficult to hold it that way. But on this left side, I'm attempting to bring my hips in as close to the position with which I can stop the momentum so that I can bring my feet onto the ledge here. I got another layered thing that hopefully will illustrate this. So, and I have this synced up. What I thought was really interesting is, right, so let's go back one more actually. My right foot is still up over here and my left foot is coming down, essentially like bringing my momentum halfway to where I need to be. Whereas on the left side, I'm trying to bring both of my legs in at the same time, and it's giving me just a little bit too much momentum to be able to hold it. And on the right side, bringing the left leg down allows it to not actually have to move as much. What you can see is that the left leg on the right side is coming down essentially to like try to average out the momentum that I have to hold, whereas there's just like a net more momentum because both of my legs are swinging out on this left side. And what's really interesting is that I essentially end up in the same position on both attempts, but because I had more momentum coming into it on the left side, I couldn't hold it. And because I had just ever so slightly less momentum on the right side, I could hold it. So here they are stacked again. So this is synced up to the moment where they both end up in the same position. Just missed it right there. There's some subtle differences, but it's not really that the position was any different. It was, again, the momentum coming into the position. So certainly on moves where that's a concern of where your momentum is and how it should be displaced, it's useful to think about how much are you bringing into the position, because you can certainly over jump a dyno. You have to jump to it rather than past it or over it or through it or whatever, you know? So just something to keep in mind when you're sussing out those kind of moves. All right, I'm going to hop out of the way for this, but this is the send of worst case scenario. The send, my send.
Come on.
What? Oh! Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Oh! Oh my god. What? Yes! Yes! Oh my god. Oh. Oh my god.
All right, I'm back. I wanted to just point out something at the very beginning because most of the other beta that I was interested in talking about, I've talked about. This bottom sequence, I got it so dialed. There's like, I do such a like, and I didn't even realize how I started looking at the footage for making this video. Like, there's just such a delicate foot sequence I do here. I do this Gaston beta. rock it over, get the high foot, bring the hand down, step the left foot up, and then the right foot just below it so that I can stab out, still in the Gaston. I had at some point, I was doing beta where instead of using the Gaston to stab the foot out, I would grab this pinch, so I was like super wide and trying to get the foot out, but that requires a lot of hip mobility. So here, it's easier if I just show you, or let it play out, but like, look at how I lock into place so that I can reach the pinch. Oh, so good. So I'm twisted for distance, and then I want some stability, so then I become square to the wall to kind of like lock my hips in place. Bam! Look at that. And then now I have plenty of tension between these two legs that I can pretty easily reach out to grab the pinch. And then because it's like hard to keep an open hip while coming into this right crimp, I twist it again so that I get more distance, so that I have some leeway to work with as I like lean back and try to catch this right crimp. So let me talk to you about why comparing yourself against your friends when it comes to climbing performance, it's no bueno. On the left here is my buddy Bradley, and Shen that I mentioned earlier is on the right, nice and shirtless. And they both, I think Bradley sent it like his second go. Bradley's an insane climber.
Come on, dude.
Shen projected it with me for
Come on.
a long time, and he sent it before I did. I don't know how many sessions. It was a long time. It wasn't like a consistent 3.5 years of like going to it all the time. But there was maybe 15 or 20 sessions total, and maybe like 8 or 9 of those I didn't climb with him. And like this day in particular on the left, Shen had already sent it. I'm watching Bradley sent it, and I'm being so nice and supportive here. But as soon as I attempted and didn't do it that day, forget whatever shut me down, like my skin was bad or mentally or whatever. They were going to what's that tall one? The Wind Below. They were going there, and I was in just such a pissy mood. Like I stopped talking to anyone. I didn't tell them. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go to the car and chill out. I just went to the car. I didn't say anything to them. It's absolutely like insane, and what felt like a horrible handle on my ability to understand my emotional experience. All I wanted to do was fucking send the boulder, and I didn't fucking send the boulder, and I was so upset about it. But climbing is not about sending in the same way that listening to a song is not about hearing the final note, or in the same way that dancing is not about ending up in some particular position, whether with your body or in the room. It's about the process of doing it. And in the process of doing it, I spent a lot of time looking at this boulder. Sussing out beta, reading stuff, laughing, having a great time, trying to take in the beautiful valley that is Joe's Valley. Getting practice with my camera, taking my dog out, and spending time with him. Laughing at each other's belly buttons is what we're doing here. You know, it's like you can't let the single-minded goal of sending stop you from appreciating everything else that climbing has to offer. Here was a time that we came down to worst case, knowing that it had snowed, but thought, oh, but maybe it's fine, or maybe enough snow has melted off. And we drove the 2.5 hours from Salt Lake City to come to this boulder, realized we couldn't climb it because there was snow on it, so we just brushed it off as best we could and went right back home. And like, it sucks to not get on the climb, but I look back on that memory extremely fondly, and I want to communicate so badly to everyone that gets so focused on sending climbs that it's not about that. I don't know that it's about any singular thing. And the message I want to convey here, it's not that if you care about sending that that's wrong or bad, but just don't let that overshadow spending time supporting your friends or sitting underneath a boulder and pondering life.